freight efficiency with NACFE's Mike Roth and Friends.
Here in episode 57, we have joining us Jose Pepe Gutierrez, who is leading NACFE's efforts in Mexico, where we talk about the similarities and differences between the U.S. and Mexican truck markets, last mile delivery, electric vehicle deployments in Mexico, and what is preventing more widespread adoption of electric vehicles. He also talks about the work NACFE LATAM is doing to help Mexican fleets operate in a more fuel-efficient manner.
Today we have joining us Jose, we know him as Pepe Gutierrez. Jose is a veteran in the Mexican and Latin America trucking market, and he's leading NACFE's efforts south of the U.S. border. It's a real pleasure to have you on today, Pepe. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Mike, thanks for inviting me. It's really a pleasure being part of NACFE and meeting you and meeting Dave. It's been quite a journey. Thank you.
First of all, everybody calls you Pepe. Where did you come by the nickname?
Yeah, my name is Jose Gutierrez, and everyone in Mexico and some places in Latin America, Joses are called Pepe. And this comes from the Bible, from the father of Jesus. They used to abbreviate it in the Bible as double P, and it means pater putativus, which is a stepfather. So that's where the Pepe comes out of Joseph.
Oh my goodness! In the first minute, I've learned something, because you oftentimes sign your emails PP. So do you remember when you first heard of NACFE and how you reached out to us, or we reached out to you? How did we get to know one another?
Yes, definitely. It's well, Dave and I met when we worked for Navistar. His office was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was working for the Escobedo plant here in Mexico. I worked there for 9 years. So whenever I used to go to Fort Wayne and visit the facility and also the plants, in the nearby area of Fort Wayne, I visited there and I met Dave. We had some things to do in business, and also he used to sell these die-cast models of trucks. So I visited him every time I went there. So last year, I was diving into the LinkedIn and I saw him posting things about electric trucks and stuff. So I started talking with them, just chit-chatting on the LinkedIn messenger. And he told me about NACFE. And then we said, well, why don't you help me getting into Mexico? We did that. And now I'm running the NACFE South of the Border chapter. You and I met, I guess, also changing emails. We had a conversation one time last year as well. And then everything just went pretty smooth.
Right. Yeah. So we're calling it NACFE LATAM. We got a LinkedIn page, and we're going to begin to grow our Spanish translation and really get into understanding kind of the Mexican market. So tell us about your career, Pepe, and how you came to, I remember now that your time at Navistar, but walk us through your career and what you're doing now.
Sure. Well, I started 26 years ago, 27 more or less. Working for a company called Durona that was a partner with Rockwell at that time, when Rockwell used to handle components for trucks. Then I moved to Navistar to launch the NGV, if you might remember, the 4000 series at that time in 2000. And then I was there in several positions. And then I moved to the dark side of sales into Meritor. I worked for Meritor for almost 3 years. In the sales department. Then I moved to Dana with the same path, if I may, axles, drivelines, and brakes. Dana, I handle also the sales area with maintenance, marketing, and warranties. From Dana, I stayed there for 6 years, and then I moved to Volvo Trucks as commercial director here for Mexico. I stayed there for a couple of years, 2.5 years, I guess. And then I moved to FEMSA in the maintenance side. So I've been pretty much in all the areas of the commercial industry. And now I have a consulting firm that handles pretty much all the areas that I've been involved with in this fabulous industry that we have.
That's really excellent. I think that's a kind of a new model for the future where people don't stay with the same company, but they stay in the same industry. You can fall in love with an industry and move, in our case, from maybe a fleet to a truck builder to a component manufacturer, maybe even, like civil service, like we're talking about here. So I think that really rounds out people well and can really, really be powerful.
Yes, I agree with you. I mean, at the very beginning, I knew that I wanted to be in this industry because I like trucks since I was a kid. It comes from the family. My father used to work for Ford Motor Company. My grandfather used to work for American Motors. So the vehicle industry is in my blood, I guess. But then being in these several areas of the commercial vehicle industry, it's been great. I mean, from operations in production, in quality, projects, and then moving to sales and maintenance and all that. As you said, it rounds up and gives a different overview of what it is to be in this industry.
So let's talk about the industry. When NACFE was started and we called ourselves the North American Council for Freight Efficiency, we very quickly included Canada with the U.S. in our scope, and we always had Mexico, in our site. So I'm glad now we're finally able to expand. But one of the things that's always worried me and the team at NACFE is the applicability of what we've learned with U.S. trucking and Canada trucking with respect to Mexico. So let's kind of compare and contrast. Where is U.S. and Mexico trucking very similar? And what are some of the special challenges south of the border, and maybe include any other countries that you want to pull in, Pepe?
Yeah, sure. Well, pretty much the differences are in the configurations and the weight loads. Here in Mexico, the vehicles that you mentioned as severe service with 46K axles and 14K axles on the steers are the regular configuration for Mexico. There's very, very few, and I would say like maybe 3-4% of the vehicles in Mexico are 44Ks. They do not, the market doesn't like it very much because they want to carry heavy. That's pretty much in Mexico. And on the engine emissions, we're close to the US and Canada, not much, as we don't have yet available in Mexico the low sulfur diesel. That's one weakness of our country, but we're trying to get there. And from the rest of the continent, they're pretty much the same, excluding way south that they like much more the cab-overs. But like say Colombia, Chile, they like the same configurations with 46 and 14Ks. The difference is as well the engine emissions that they are behind the ones that we have in Mexico. But those are the main differences that we have between Mexico, North America, meaning Canada and the US, and South America and Central America.
And what do you see around the sort of the duty cycles with the conditions? So tell us about the roads. Maybe characterize long haul. How much long haul trucking is done between major cities and the U.S. border, as well as sort of what we would call regional or maybe out and back or slower run. So roads, routes, maybe even mountains, flats. I mean, just tell us a little bit there.
Yeah, sure. There's the Pan American Road is the largest road that we have in Mexico, and it runs on the west coast. It is very, very large, and that's the largest. I'll get you the number, how long it is right now. The second one is the one that runs from Mexico City to Laredo, Texas. That's one of the main ones, and that's the border in Laredo is the largest border. Well, the one that handles the most transactions, I would say, in the world. It's many, many transactions a day. It's very busy, and many of the transportation companies have a yard there that really holds all the carriers pretty much. The roads, I would say, we want to improve them in terms of quality. We don't have we have a safe quality, if I may, although we still have many things to do there. Some of the roads are toll roads. Well, many of the roads are toll roads, and those are the ones that are in better conditions. But still things to do there, that so we can use like this lane view system. If we had better roads, that would work perfectly, but it's not the case. But we have some hilly also roads on the east coast, the state of Veracruz and Puebla. Those two states that are neighbors, they have very high mountains, and one of the hilliest road, it's called Cumbres de Maltrata. That part of the road is one of the toughest ones in the country. So as I can summarize, we have pretty much all the kind of roads here in the country.
Yeah, and so it's just like everywhere else in the world, what the technologies that'll work on the, on the highways and the flat long distances are different than those we'll need to climb mountains that are different from urban. Before we move on, what's going on in the intercity with respect to goods movements and, smaller trucks, even vans and cargo vans, and do you have, even smaller goods movement with even things like cargo bikes and that sort of thing, and is e-commerce, taking off like we're seeing in the US? I mean, what's going on with smaller delivery, sort of last mile?
Yeah, it's been very common. And well, since the pandemic started, last mile became very popular. Well, talking about scales, not as big as in the US, but scaling it to the Mexico population, it was very popular. Amazon needed to come with partners to make deliveries, and other companies also like that kind of business. They partnered with delivery companies to make the last mile. Not very many electric vehicles so far. There are companies that have quite a few, like the bread company that has 1,200 electric vehicles in their fleet. Now, a beer company that is just purchased 100. So they're becoming more popular right now as city deliveries. Regional hauls is even though there's that configuration, we jump from long haul configuration to truck, box truck configuration. We do not use very much the regional hauls, even though we have short deliveries.
Yep. So let's talk about NACFE and how it might affect or be affected by the Mexican market. And let's just at first tell me about the early exposure we're seeing with NACFE in Mexico. I know we've been putting some thoughts out there through articles and webinars and some of those things. What explain that to me, and what's been the reaction, the very early reaction to the work and the help we might provide?
Sure. Well, it's been very good. I mean, since starting last year, we've been working with a magazine, one of the main magazines. I would say the top two magazines in the country, called Revista Transportes y Turismo. We've been publishing an article every month with them since June last year till now, talking about what we already have in our library in the NACFE.org webpage, and also some other articles that are of interest in Mexico. We've been having very good reception from the market and very good opinions. And what I think is that what we have in NACFE, and that, as you mentioned at the beginning of this podcast that we are translating, it's going to be very useful because even though we don't have electric vehicles as much and it's not growing that fast, the part of the efficiency, the good practices, the tires, all those concepts, aerodynamics, will be very useful, and people is getting very curious. And in some of the people that I get to talk to, they make questions, and they get interested in this information that we have.
Why the interest? I mean, is it fuel costs? Is there an early discussion around sustainability and emissions? I mean, what's the drive? I mean, part of what we see in the U.S. is the regulatory emissions and a real drive for sustainability, not just for electric and that kind of thing, but also just for the technologies that will burn less fuel per mile or per ton mile. So what drives either the fleets or the manufacturers to care about these technologies?
Yes, pretty much the diesel, the cost of diesel right now, as well. We all of the countries, I guess, we have experienced how the cost has been racing up every month. Even though here in Mexico, for some months, the government has been helping the cost of it, at some point of time, it won't be sustainable. So they will just loosen the cost, if I may, and it'll go to the sky more than it is right now. Transportation fleets are very interested in making their their fleets more efficient. How they can use less diesel to move all the carrier that they have, and also learn better practices to make them more efficient. So even though everything is leading to electric or hydrogen, right now, at least in our country, it's more of how can I make diesel more efficient in my fleet.
And that's an important step around sustainability. I mean, burning less fuel creates less emissions. And, oftentimes, even, in lots of parts of the world, it's overlooked. We feel like this urgency to get to zero emission. But, if you go from 6 to 8 to 10 mile per gallon hauling freight, that is a big cost and emission saver, like you said. So what's next for NACFE LATAM in the next, say, 6 months as we continue to explore what NACFE does south of the border?
Well, we just had, and I'm very, very happy to share this with you and with the people that is listening to us, that we have the first official meeting last week, the kickoff in Mexico City with companies supporting us, such as Navistar, Cummins, Meritor, this magazine that I just said, Revista de Transportes y Turismo, and a representative of a fleet. We had this kickoff. You can see the pictures in the LinkedIn account, LinkedIn LATAM, as you mentioned it some minutes ago. That we're getting it more, strengthening it and making it official. We're going to participate in events. In July the 6th, I'm going to be representing NACFE LATAM in the Foro de Mercancías, which is an event organized by the National Private Transportation, ANTP. It's called Asociación Nacional de Transporte Privado, National Association of Private Transportation. That's the right way to say it, which is like the cousin of NPTC in the US. I'm going to be also representing Canacar in Canacar event in September, and some of those events, and the largest event in Latin America, that it's Expo Transporte. That is going to happen in October, and I will be there as well. So being part of these events, getting the transportation society, if I may, getting to know us, and also participating in events that companies such as Vimo, which is an electrification company, that invited me, be part of that and share this information we have with all the Mexican market.
Yeah, excellent. So, I think that, and as we've talked in our planning and strategy work, Pepe, I think getting out in the industry, like go and see, as I always say, and talking about what's needed and how can we be most helpful will be really important. And it'll kind of tee us up for looking into 2023 as to what our more specific actions will be in Latin America with respect to NACFE. So I'm really excited. That will include some things that will help us, across other regions. Just simply translating some of our work into Spanish will help many fleets and manufacturers in the U.S. that have, Spanish-speaking leaders. So they're very excited. As you talked about electrification a little bit, I mean, what do you think will happen in Mexico with respect to electric vehicles quickly as we're beginning to close out our time together? How do you think that'll emerge? I mean, we've talked a lot about smaller trucks first. I'm guessing that'll happen there as well.
Yes, at some point of time, I think it'll happen. I don't see it to happen soon because we need to make infrastructure. We need to have, all the culture of electric vehicles. We still don't have it. Not on long haul trucks, yes, on last mile trucks, and that is the one that is getting very common. on long hauls, it'll take some time until the autonomy of the vehicles and also the price improve. That will make things more achievable in our country. In my personal opinion, I still think that it's some time from now to get electrification in the country.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right on there, Pepe. And I may steal your culture of electrification, because that's applicable all around the world. I think that it's not just about buying a truck and putting it in service. It's the infrastructure, it's the charging, it's the support. There's a lot around it, and the concept of the culture of electric trucks is a cool one. I'll give you credit for that whenever I use it from time.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I think that we have that opportunity. I mean, having roads of 600, 700 miles, it's not that autonomy that the trucks have right now. So yeah.
I'm excited about the work we're doing together. I look forward to coming to Mexico and joining you in the effort. I'm looking forward to you coming to the States and working with the NACFE team from time to time, likely at a big truck event. So I think we're getting started well. Tell the audience again how they can connect with you. Mention the LinkedIn again, and any other way that folks can reach out and get involved.
Sure, of course. You're more than welcome, you and everyone that wants to come to Mexico and get in touch with us and on the events as well. You can reach us in the LinkedIn account as NACFE LATAM, like that. It's North American Council for Fuel Efficiency Latin America. You can find there. I'm posting pretty much every day. I also post some things in Instagram, but that's not a NACFE account. It's my account. It's JOSE_GT as in Tom Z_C. That's the one where I post some things for NACFE and also for the truck industry myself. So you can get in touch with me there. Please join us, ask questions, interact, and I'll be more than pleased to answer.
Fantastic, Pepe. It's been wonderful getting to know you more and having you on this podcast. Good luck in your efforts, and thanks for being on today.
Thank you, Mike. My pleasure. You take care, and my regards to everyone that is listening.
Freight Efficiency with NACFE's Mike Roth and Friends.